How do you respond to that, Cody? It's a
Well,
softball question to you.
well, at least all the high schools in Wisconsin, that's where we are from, obviously. All the high schools in Wisconsin that use these logos, there are 31 that still use them and 35 have thankfully changed. But the 31 schools that use them currently have all been contacted by Native nations to stop using the logos. So they do know. They know that this is racism. So you can argue that after they know that this is racism, they are intentionally promoting racism and discrimination and stereotyping. They are doing it intentionally because they know full well that this is wrong and that Native American people, like the wonderful people beside me, think that it is wrong and they do not support these logos in any way. So it is intentional once you know about it. Yes.
I can meet you in the back. Yes.
This isn't really like concern with my school because we don't have a Native American mascot. But there's a mall near my school, and I forgot the name of the store, but inside there's a store, and it has like Native something in the name, and it's selling like a bunch of like headdresses and like
Oh my God.
a bunch of like merchandise that's just centered around Native American.
So you're talking about capitalizing on Native American culture and appropriation, basically.
Yeah.
I really think that obviously people should not be doing that in any way because in terms you are still putting Native American down by not seeing their culture as an everyday but still romanticizing what they were. How can a group of people, keep pushing along and keep getting better and better when people are still holding them back and seeing them as only this? It's nearly impossible. So I feel like, just to spread the word about that mom and say, hey, what you're doing is not right. Capitalizing on Native American culture is a big no-no, and that we should stop supporting your guys' business because of this. Why would somebody support something that's intentionally, degrading on a whole people?
Me personally, if you guys know the shoe brand or apparel brand Vans, Off the Wall, they're probably in every mall that you'll go to, and every Vans store that I've ever been to has a section with shirts. I used to own one before I got learned on this issue. It's a headdress with a skull on it, and I'm like, oh, I'm Native. I like that. I bought it. I wore it. It was on my Facebook profile picture, and I liked it. But being a student at Native American Student Association and being active and learning about how damaging it is to wear those types of things, I don't wear that shirt anymore. I burned it, but yeah.
Alrighty, we get you right here. Yeah.
So when you say get rid of the mascot, are you saying they completely like change it, or they no longer have like the chieftain mascot? They no longer call themselves a chieftain. It's just like say Utica, like the school. Is there no longer a mascot?
This kind of like brings up the topic of the Chicago Blackhawks. They actually have a Native artist that made them a new mascot, like an actual Blackhawk. And it is pretty cool, and that, is a Native artist. And so it was kind of doing that, but I have no clue how would you make the chieftains, something else. I would say get rid of it altogether.
So
Yeah.
There are actually cases of it being changed. Chieftains have become Scottish chieftains. I don't know why they want to do that. There also are chieftains who have become like a military insignia, and I don't know what that means, but they're doing it, and it's not indigenous, and it's not, so they can do it if you can come up with it. Warriors, I think, is easier. You see a lot of people going to Trojan warriors. There they are not harming a living culture. They're dealing with really dealing with a group from the past. And you see Spartan and Trojan warriors more frequently.
Yeah.
okay, how do we raise awareness for this topic, considering the fact that we have little to no diversity with Native American culture in our school,
derogatory mascot?
Well, first of all, I would like to say, I don't know where you're from, but I'm from Prescott, and our school has little to no Native population, just like your school does. But like I said, we have a First Nations class where we were taught about the history, and thankfully we have a teacher, Mr. Ryan, who exposed us to the issue. Obviously, I'd like to say too that this has all been student-led. He has really no part in our protest. He's helped us, but we've done it all. So I would say push for possibly, if you could possibly get a Native American history class in your school, or just educate yourselves on the topic, get it out there for people to understand. Because like I said, I go to a predominantly non-white or non-native school, so, but it's still possible. Obviously, we've been at it for a decade. We've had a lot of success.
Oh, Brandon,
I just wanted to touch back on the how do you change the name. So, how many here know Marquette University in Milwaukee? It's a very prestigious law school in Wisconsin. And so years ago they had the mascot of the Warrior. That was their name. And they actually had a Native American man, as a friend of mine, Marion Denning. He used to go by Mark when I was a kid. And Mark would, at halftime of the basketball games, he would come out and actually do a traditional dance in his regalia of their home games. But over the years, due to student-led concerns and raising awareness of this name and the potential it would have to cause harm to people, the school actually went back and renamed their team the Golden Eagles through a student-led effort with working with the Native community in Milwaukee. And so that's one way to do that. Again, I think you hear the students talking about that as engaging the community and engaging the Native community is probably the key there.
Yeah.
You said that you went to the State House to lobby. Were you lobbying for legislation or just for political support?
There were two bills that would make it easier for people to, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like with the bills and the laws that were put in place, if you say in my town there was a Native American mascot, if one person wanted to change it, they had to bring it to the board, and then there would be a hearing about it. Now it was amended, and now 10% of the district population has to agree with it, which makes it difficult in maybe a community like mine where there's not very many natives and people who understand the issue. But yes, we did lobby for laws that changed the way that these logos can be changed and how they're working it out there and how these hearings can take place to help change the mascot. So I don't know if you can see, as there was
There's a bunch of copies out here.
There's copies out here, yes. It explains what we did. And also, I did want to highlight the fact that our students have been very involved in this, obviously. But when they did testify, they testified over spring break. So we have a lot of non-native kids who are very, very interested and very driven in this issue. And it's just great to see that turnout from all these students. And you can all do this too, just like we did.
Who hasn't gone? Yeah, we can get the recess. Yeah.
Two questions. So I do want to, I'm sort of an online newspaper, and I think this is a really important issue. However, where I live in California, everything gets backlash. So how do I write this in a way that essentially doesn't offend other people? Because, I mean, I guess backlash is just as affecting. But JCOT, like sometimes when we get backlash, we have to take down a story, which is just awful overall. And also compared to that, like what do you think should be covered in an article? And also, I don't know if any schools nearby have offensive mascots, but if they do, how do we make a change to that, I suppose?
Okay, so I think you're also kind of insinuating the question of why do we care and how can we make this change? So why do you care? It's because it's hurting a group of people. Am I correct? And when you're saying that, you don't necessarily have to be Native American. Like, of course, you can get behind a movement and keep pushing for that. You know, you don't have to even have a connection. But what did you say? Like 80% of people.
Have 80% of the people in the United States have no connection to any Native Americans at all. The only connection they have to the culture is in the media, in movies, in these logos.
Journalism.
In journalism. So these logos are what people perceive Native Americans to be.
Exactly. And so when you were talking about trying to formulate your story per se, I would kind of go at it, educate yourself, learn the history behind most of these, like, you know, movements. You have to just educate yourself. That's the biggest thing that you guys will have as journalism, is your education and what you guys know and your knowledge to spread to more people. Because they always say spread truthful things, right? Like, no fake news, right? And so basically that's the biggest thing you're going to do. And you know what? Almost every story I have ever done has gotten backlash. And I can tell you guys this right now. This past summer I actually did an internship with PBS NewsHour, and I don't know how many of you guys know what that is, but it was in Washington, D.C., and I got flown out. And so I actually had multiple stories of my own go onto national television and national platforms. So there's a really, really big story here, but it's how do you get it out there in a way that's respectful, that has integrity, and is educational. You need to have all sides as much as it hurts, but you need to have it stay unbiased, even though there isn't really a bias in here. Like, you know, there's no right way to do mascots. You know, because we all know that mascots are only perpetuating stereotypes. There's no right way to go about it, but the best you can do is try your best. Any media out there about this is good media. That's what they all tell you in classes, right? Any media is good media, whether it's bad or good. As long as that story is getting sent out there, you guys can do a lot of things. So that's the biggest thing you have to remember, is try to do that story in the best way you can possibly imagine it. You know, represent people, a group of people as well. Represent, you know, try to get all sides of the story. I know it's hard, but really, really try to drive through that this has been like a big thing in our history and it needs to be changed. Oh, it's time.
Yep.
Okay, so now, wait.